So I've made many videos on the best armor inside of the Forge Roblox, and most of these recipes include demonite, obsidian, sometimes even darkite and stuff. So today I want to go ahead and explain a recipe for the newer players or people who just casually play this game. People who don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to get demonite or darkite, or maybe you are just a new player as I mentioned before. If that sounds like something you're interested in, watch this video all the way to the end because I'm not just going to be showing you guys the best armor in the game, I'm also going to be explaining why this is the best armor in the game, and why so many people that are even pros use this armor. As always, hit that like and subscribe button if you guys want to be a part of the OG 400,000 subscribers. By the time this video is out, actually, we might have already hit 400k, so thank you so much for everyone who subscribed. The next goal is 500, aka 500,000 subscribers, so if you guys want to make my dream come true, hit that subscribe button right now and join the OG 500k family. But anyways, what is the best mid-game armor inside of the game right now? As mentioned before, I've made many videos talking about the best armor in the game, but most of these recipes need you guys to have demonite or darkite, and most of them are really hard to grind for. I mean, I probably spent 8 hours trying to grind for a bunch of demonite, and maybe the max I've gotten is like 15 to 20, which would probably be enough to maybe make one set of chest plates. So for this video, you're gonna need two things. So the first thing you're gonna need is at least the mithril pickaxe, because we're gonna have to mine basalt veins to get some of the materials for this video. And the second and most important thing you're gonna need is obviously be at Island 2, which, well, most of you probably are, but you also need some sort of armor so you can actually go ahead and go inside of the volcanic area. This armor, again, doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can just put a bunch of like emeralds or something together, or just anything, guys. Just have at least some sort of armor so you can go inside of the volcanic area and mine for just a little bit. I promise you, you're not gonna have to spend hours and hours in here. Max to max, you're gonna have to spend maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours if you're unlucky. But anyways, now that you guys have your basics down, let's go ahead and actually talk about the materials you're gonna need. So the first material you're gonna need is going to be uranium, the second one is going to be iron ore, third is going to be mithril, and finally you're gonna need this very rare material called lightite. Now all 4 of these materials you can actually obtain by AFKing simply at this spot right over here. So you just want to go ahead, stand here, AFK for maybe like 15 to 20 minutes, come back to the game, sell your inventory, continue to do this again, and you can keep on doing this over and over again for at least maybe like 2 to 3 hours, and you should have enough materials to actually make yourself this armor. But if you guys prefer to go ahead and just mine on your own, then don't worry, I actually got you guys a pretty decent way to do that too. From the starting of the cave, head to the left side, and you want to continue going down into the cave right here, and yeah, once you guys reach this point, you're gonna find a bunch of basalt veins that you can actually mine inside of this area. This is probably the best spot to find basalt veins, so just keep on running around here, find yourself a bunch of basalt veins and just mine them. Most of these materials you're gonna find from basalt veins, so yeah, you will have to do that. For reference, you're gonna need about 8 uranium, 8 to 10 uranium. You're gonna need about 50 mithril, 50 iron ore, and maybe even like 40 to 30 lightite. Once again, I'll show you guys the exact recipe in a second, but I recommend getting more materials than you'll need because, as you guys know, the forge crafting system is very frustrating sometimes. But this last material that you're gonna need is probably gonna make you guys go insane, and this is going to be obsidian. Now, I know I said no difficult materials to get, but obsidian is actually not that difficult to get, especially if you guys get yourself a miner potion and a luck potion. Once you guys have that, if you guys don't know where to get obsidian, you're gonna get it right here inside the volcanic area, and unfortunately you will have to go ahead and mine those volcanics, as that guy just stole one. Once again, if you guys don't know the best method to mine volcanic rocks, you simply want to mine the rock all the way down to about 2300 HP, and once you do though, the rock is going to change its texture just like this. Now you just want to set your graphics down all the way to 0, and you're actually going to be able to see every single thing that's inside of the rock. If you don't like what the rock is going to drop, then you can simply wait for 30 seconds, wait for the rock to regenerate, and do the entire process again and again. So yeah, this is probably the best way to mine volcanic rocks for those who don't know how to do it. Probably gotten hundreds and hundreds of obsidian using this method. Obviously, I've used this obsidian for other builds, but yeah, this is the best way to get obsidian. Of course, make sure you're using at least a luck potion for this because it's going to help you guys out a lot. But anyways, once you guys know how to actually obtain the materials you need to make this armor, let's actually move on to making this armor. So the reason I've gone ahead and chosen the materials I've told you guys is because we're going to be making the best overall armor for mid-game players, as I mentioned before. This armor is going to give you guys an increased speed bonus, it's going to give you guys increased life vitality, increased protection, so you have more health, and it's also going to let you guys actually damage enemies without even using your sword. It's actually really cool. So to make this armor, first things first, let's go ahead and start off with, let's see, something like the helmet. Ooh, actually, no, we're not going to start off with the helmet. We're going to start off with the chest plate. Let me explain why. So first of all, the recipe for this armor, or for the chest plate, is going to be 11 iron ore, 11 obsidian, 8 lightite, and finally 8 mithril. And as you guys can see, this is going to give you guys a heavy chest plate with a 17% chance to get it. 17? I meant 71% chance to get it. Now, rule number 1 you want to keep in mind is get yourself the Dark Knight chest plate. This is going to be the Dark Knight chest plate. Do not use the regular Knight chest plate. This thing is significantly worse than the Dark Knight chest plate. So always and always try and get yourself the Dark Knight chest plate. Now, how do you actually get the Dark Knight chest plate? Well, it's a chance. It's a gamble. You just have to craft and you have to hope and pray that you get the Dark Knight chest plate and not the crappy Knight chest plate. Rule number 2 is the reason I told you guys to make a chest plate first is because, as you guys can see, even if you fail to get that 71% chance to get a chest plate, your second best option is going to be heavy leggings, which we're going to be making anyways. So worst case scenario, if you guys don't manage to get yourself the heavy chest plate, you're just going to get heavy leggings because it's the second most chance to get so. And if you're even more unlucky, the next chance is just getting a heavy helmet. And yeah, if you guys manage to get a heavy helmet while you're trying to craft a heavy chest plate, then you know what, so be it. Just use the helmet. It's going to be just as good, and you can just not make the helmet. You can just use the one that you got while making the chest plate. Hope that makes sense. I know it sounds a little bit complicated, but just follow those 2 rules. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be really easy. But anyways, that's gonna be the recipe for our chest plate. Moving on over to our leggings. For this, you're gonna need 10 iron ore, 8 obsidian, 6 mithril, and finally 6 lightite. This is gonna give you guys a 49% chance to get heavy leggings, which is quite low, so you might actually not make heavy leggings from this. So if that does happen and you get yourself a heavy chest plate, once again, it's alright. Don't worry about it too much. It doesn't really matter that much. But again, try and get yourself the Dark Knight leggings. Now, before we move on to the helmet, remember how I told you guys to get uranium but barely even use uranium in this recipe? Well, that is because uranium's ability doesn't actually stack. Meaning, if you put it on one armor piece, that's it. That's all you can get uranium on. It does not stack with other armor pieces. So for that reason, we're only going to be putting uranium on one of our armor pieces. So do keep that in mind. If one of your armor pieces already has uranium, don't bother putting it on other armor pieces. Instead, go ahead and put yourself some lightite, which is going to give you guys increased speed, which I think is much more useful. But anyways, here is the recipe for the mid-game helmet. That's going to be 9 iron ore, 7 obsidian, 5 mithril, and finally 4 uranium. Or actually, you know what? We can go with 5 uranium. It's alright. And once you guys go ahead and craft all of this, you're going to get a armor set that's kind of similar to mine. As you guys can see, I don't really have the exact set, but my armor set is close enough, so I never bothered, remaking it or whatever. But you're going to have something similar to this. You're going to have radioactive, which is basically the uranium doing its work. You're going to have lethality of at least 15%, which is basically going to give you guys extra damage from your sword. And you're also going to have vitality and lots of it, which comes from our mithril and our obsidian, which cancels out the negative health that we get from the iron ore too. Not just that, but you also get 15% extra movement speed. This, of course, comes from the lightite. Once again, your armor won't be the same as mine, but trust me, I use almost the same recipe to make my armor. So you're going to have an armor set that's actually better than my armor set. So I should probably follow my own rules and make myself a new armor set. I know, you don't need to leave a comment. But anyways, once you guys have done this, you're not done yet. The next thing you want to do is go to the enhancer and actually enhance your set. Now, the reason we want to enhance our set is simple. First things first, whenever you enhance, you actually get extra defense. So it actually bumps up your stats significantly. As you guys can see, my leggings do a default of 152 defense, but after upgrading them, I got almost 200 defense. Not just that, but you also want to try and get yourself 2 rune slots. As you guys can see, I have 2 rune slots on almost all of my armor. This is really easy to get, so do not skip out on this part because this is where your armor really starts to shine, and this is where your armor actually becomes really good. But anyways, once you guys have your 2 rune slots, the next step is to actually go ahead and put a specific type of rune on it. Now, this can be a little bit subjective, but in my opinion, try and put the Briar Notch rune on it, especially with the Thorns mutation. So you want to try and get yourself Thorns 10 or at least Thorns 8. That's the minimum I'd go. Thorns 8, anything lower than that is useless. So Thorns 8 and above, all the way to Thorns 10 is the best you can get. And put as many of these as you can on your armor. And the reason to put Thorns on your armor is simple. If an enemy tries to attack you, you don't even need to pull out your sword. You're just going to damage them. And yeah, as you guys can see, this guy is dying without even doing any sort of damage to me. And once you guys have done that, you are basically basically good. You'll be able to farm the volcano area, no issues. You'll be able to kill volcano area mobs, no issues. I guarantee you, because I'm pretty much using almost the same armor piece. And I've been using it for a very long time, and it's been treating me really, really well. So if you guys found this video helpful, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Once again, we want to try and get to 500,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to be part of the OG 500k, hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.